And you can just kind of hang out right there in the middle with the ammo, and I'll hand it back and forth to you to load, and we'll go from there.
You want them 3 in a row to empty, or do you want every other?
Mix it up.
Okay.
You videoing? Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to start Sabre shooting off of him. I saddled him up just a few minutes ago. Turn him out, let him run a little bit of energy off, but he still has a lot of energy. And what we're going to be starting with, it's just a 22 single action revolver. What we're using for ammo is, I call them a ramset blank. It's basically the 22 bullets that's used in construction to shoot nails into concrete. It has powder, but no projectile, and has a little bit less, or actually a good bit less powder than what is in like a 22 long rifle. It's more comparable to a 22 short, and probably has even less powder than a 22 short. It doesn't have much. It's just to make a sound, to get him used to that sound. Sabre is pretty sound reactive. And the way a lot of people think about just training in general, when you have a situation, say him being sound reactive, you can handle that a couple different ways. You can kind of shelter him from it best you can, or you can conquer it. And what really makes good horses is when you conquer those weaknesses. You spend time making those weaknesses better, addressing the holes in training, addressing those holes. That's how you end up with a good horse. He still has plenty of energy. Might should have let him out a little longer, but oh well. This is what we're going to start with. What I'm going to start with doing, I'm going to take the gun in my left hand. I'm going to hold it out here. I'm not going to put it in here where he can see it, like right in front of his face. I mean, he can see it right here. I'm going to hold it right here, and we're just going to walk and shoot. I'm going to act like nothing ever happened. He might jump, he might bolt, he might run backwards. Don't know what he's going to do. I'm going to keep acting like nothing ever happened. And we're going to keep doing that until he's okay with it. All right. Thank you. I'm going to wait till we're on the other side so we got a little more room to shoot the first one off. I'm going to try to just keep walking and not feed out any extra slack if I can help it. Keep walking, act like nothing happened. What is happening here, we're getting him used to the sound, but we're also establishing leadership. He's taken my cue that this is nothing to be afraid of. And there's no projectile that's coming out, this is just powder, but that powder that does come out will burn you. So you still have to be careful, even though there's not a projectile, it still could hurt you. So we're going to come out and we're going to shoot it again when I get back on the other side. In a minute, I'll start mixing up spots, but to begin with, I want to shoot it in places that he's got a little bit of room to act up. Less reaction there. It's a single shot, 22 6 shot. Less reaction. Now while I'm walking this circle, let's talk about ear protection for the horse. I do have horse earplugs. A lot of times when I'm showing a real anxious horse for the first time, I do put earplugs in them. Could put earplugs in a day. But the whole objective is to get him used to the sound. And if I muffle that sound, he's not getting used to it. Now, to start with, I'm not really doing anything other than walking. You see him jump that time? That was firing on an empty shell. When you cock a 22, a horse is smart. They can learn that the bang comes after the cock. So I'm going to walk and cock it a couple times. He heard the trigger fall. And it startled, he jumped a little bit. It's kind of like scoring a roping horse out of the box. He needs to understand that the bang doesn't always come after the cock. All right, go ahead and load me. We're gonna put 3 shells in it, 3 hot bullets. And we're going to leave 3 empties in it. I'm not really concerned if it's every other one. It could be 3 live rounds and then 3 empties. It doesn't really matter. The whole point is to get him used to the sound, but not anticipating the bang after the cock. Mouse and Bob and Bug are out there watching. They're not as close as they usually are, but I bet they'll get close. Thank you. I'm going to give him a while before I really scold him or anything for jumping for the bang. Eventually I will need to, but in the beginning I want him to draw from me that it's okay, that there's nothing to be afraid of. Then after he understands there's nothing to be afraid of, then I will say, hey, I'll bump the halter a little bit, I might back him up and say, hey, this behavior is not acceptable. Right now, I'm okay with that behavior. Got to learn. You can't fuss at him for not knowing. At this point, he's just learning. What I'm going to do is kind of temper how I scold him with how he reacts. Little reaction, I'm not going to do anything. Bigger reaction, I will. I believe that's all 3 of our live rounds, but I'm going to shoot it one more time. There we go. No reaction that time. We're getting there. So, reloading the gun for me is Mark. That is Sabre's owner. And I think I posted a picture or 2 of him on Patreon riding this horse. And as far as why are we doing this, don't really plan on doing cowboy mounted shooting. Don't really plan on hunting off of him. But they do go on trail rides out west, Texas, Oklahoma, Rocky Mountains, where it's possible that you need to defend yourself and you might need to shoot off your horse to defend yourself. And that's why we're getting him used to a gun. I've trained quite a few police horses to shoot off of, and did a little bit of cowboy mounted shooting. Now that was a little stronger reaction. Bust at him a little bit, and we're gonna go on. And this whole process we're walking. I'm not trying to force him to stand still. We're walking. That's really important to take away in all this. I started shooting out here, but I'm not just shooting out here. I'm mixing around. I don't want him to start worrying about that part of the arena. Better reaction. And working up to this, I did all the lunge line work, getting him used to the popping sound of the lunge line. A lot of people ask, why do I not use flag? I don't have anything against the flag, but the flag doesn't really build to anything else after this. That was a better reaction. The flag doesn't really build to anything. In my program. Somebody else's program, it might. In mine, it don't. Now you notice I have not stopped and let him sniff the gun, smell the powder, anything. None of that is relevant at this point. A lot of people will shoot once and then let them smell the gun, the horse snorts at the gun, and then the horse is afraid of the gun because that's where the sound just come from. This is all about sound desensitization. A few dry fires so that you don't worry about the cocking, the sound of the cocking. A lot of horses, when you cock the gun, they'll learn that the bang comes after that cock sound, and they'll learn to be afraid of the noise that comes afterwards. That was water came on outside the arena. He jumped at that as much as he did the gun. We have a trail ride planned. Hope to be able to do it in the next week or two. That we're going to take him to a different place and put hopefully a couple of hours of trail riding on him. That's going to help a lot of things. Thank you. Now we're just about to the point where I might start asking him to stop him and then shoot. I also need to start pointing the gun at a little bit different angles. I'm going to start some of that. I'm going to hold it out in front of me a little bit so they can see it a little better. He obviously knows that I got it. Horses aren't dumb. They're going to know about it right from the beginning. See him look at the gun. He knew where the sound was coming from. See him jumped when it dry fired. That's why you have to do that. Not acceptable. Come on. I always like to do this initial training with a single action gun. It's just safer because the gun's not going to go off unless it's cocked. You always want to treat every gun like it's loaded. I always point down range. But when you're doing some things like this and you got a gun in one hand and the horse in the other hand, can't always keep everything like you would like it to be. So having a single action gun to do this with makes it much safer than using like a double action revolver or a automatic that's going to fire every time you pull the trigger. But there'll be some accidental fires that way. Come on. He's not afraid of the sight of the gun. That's good. I have had to work on that. A lot of times when I would go from here to here and they see the gun, they would spook and run backwards. So he's not physically afraid of the gun. If he was, what I would be doing is sacking him out and rubbing the gun over him like this. See how he would start to chew when it touched him. So he's not physically afraid of it. That's good. He has been reactive to sounds from the beginning, way more than sight or smell. So next time I'll have him stop and stand and we'll see what happens. I had a friend, still have the friend, he don't have the horse anymore. He worked as a double in a lot of movies, and probably movies that many of you have seen. He was in a movie about the Alamo. Thank you. He was in a couple of the Rambo movies. And he was an extra in big groups of horses. And he was telling me about filming the Rambo movie. There was a scene where a bunch of people, they were dressed in native costume, I don't remember what country they were in, galloping, and as they were galloping in direction, a helicopter rises up and in the movie starts shooting at them with a gun out of the helicopter. Well, everybody on horseback is carrying AKs and shooting at the helicopter. And he said they retook that scene so many times that when he took the bridle off of the horse, his fingers were covered in black soot from all the burnt gunpowder. And just kind of a note to go along with that. That was an Arabian that he was riding in those movies. So that was kind of interesting. See him look away? That's him being a little bit worried, trying to kind of hide from it. Okay. Yeah, we're getting somewhere. He's startling. He's not pulling on me. He's not going anywhere. Improvement. We're getting there. Now we'll fire it on a couple of... See, right here, he sees the cock. He knows it's coming. He can hear the hammer fall. And I'm going to keep doing this until he quits flinching. There we go. Good boy. Good boy. Somebody in the barn is snorting. I used to do some cowboy mounted shooting and had a horse that I shot off of a lot. It was my primary shooting horse, and it actually was the same horse I used for police work. Big sugar bars bred roping horse. And one day I was going to a shoot. This is when I had Bob in training before. I said, let me put Bob in the trailer. This was about the time that he really wasn't working out in training as far as reining. So I was trying to see if there was another path for him. So I put him in the trailer and I took him to shoot. Put him in the stall. The arena was laid out kind of like this, but along the walls was stalls on both sides. And put him in a stall watching the shoot going on. And it was a 2-day shoot. So Sunday, I got him out of the stall and was riding him around during the practice. People were getting warmed up. A little bit of shooting going on, but not much. Those are really, really, really safety regulated. A little bit of noise, but not shooting noise. I said, all right, let's see what he does. So I put my guns on, entered a practice class. Went in and loped a pattern. First time he'd ever been shot off of. Handled like he'd been doing it for years. He was standing right outside over there. Now he's over playing with the bug. I like that he's not spooking when I put the gun out in front and show him the gun. That's a big step that we don't have to accomplish. He's doing a lot of things good that's basically, I know, makes this whole process go better. A lot of horses, they know this is where the bang comes from. As soon as I put it out here, they'll start running another way because they're trying to get away from the sound. He's not doing that. He's not afraid of the gun. And when I cock it, he's not having a reaction as if it shot when it got cocked. That's an issue that I have a lot of times. I'm still not going to put it right by his head. I don't want him to be that close. Nice, that was good. Barely a flinch. He flinched more when I went to pet on him. So we're not going to go through this whole process today. Really what I would like to accomplish today is to be able to shoot the gun and him stand and not have any more flinch than what he just had. That was a lot of progress for the first day. After that, the next step is to basically do this whole thing over again with the rider sitting on the back. So we might do that. We're not going to do it next time. We're gonna wait a few days, do some other stuff, and then come back and do this again. And basically do the same thing again with the rider sitting on his back. The rider basically just sitting there, not doing anything, just along for the ride. And then from there, you start transferring steering and then the gun to the rider, and then it's all done. Good boy. So we're going to quit on that for today. Did a real good for his first day working with a gun. This is Sabre. I'll put a link up here to his videos and his playlist on YouTube. And we'll do more shooting. Until next time, thank you for watching.